was there to help this person when they were on their way down because they stepped on one of the way up there. And I saw that like when I was really young, and it always stuck with me. It's like, you gotta help people along the way and be kind to people, and because you're gonna need them at some point. You know, you're gonna get fired from a gig at some point. You're gonna lose this at some point. You're gonna need something. You know, you hope people are in your corner when that time comes, you know?
Man, that's crazy. It sounds like a profound moment that you had when you witnessed that, you know?
Yeah, it was like watching a slow motion train wreck, car crash sort of thing. And it was like, whoa, okay. Well, I see now, like all this power and all this everything. And it's like, if you got there for the not right reasons, that can get taken away from you just as fast. But if you look at the good people who are there got there for the right reasons, people just prop them up even more. They want to be with them. They're excited to work with them. They want to sing their praises. They want to help them. You know, I just hope I can figure out a little bit of that.
Right? There's no shortcuts. It's like the people that take shortcuts, they usually crash and burn. So it's like, even if it's like a one-hit wonder, or, you know, someone that's like an overnight success, but doesn't really have any other, you know, songs to back themselves up, or, you know, the artists that make it big 10 years later have so much backlog and such a diehard fan base that of course they're going to continue to succeed after they finally break out, you know? And I think it's true in all these like little aspects of like the long game, doing the right things, like you said, you know, putting out that right energy. You can have the
best mix, but if it's not the best mix for the artist, like if it's sonically a great mix, and you played for all your engineer friends, and they're like, yeah, the kick drum's great, and blah, 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 but the musician doesn't like it, they're not going to tell their musician friends, Matt was awesome to work with, he got us this awesome mix. It's like, the mix was awesome for him and his friends, not for us, not what we wanted. You give them exactly what they want, and you work with them.
We're a garage band. We don't want to sound like Steely Dan.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard. It's hard, especially when you're younger. I wanted everything to sound so great and so perfect, and you know, like you do all that stuff, and then someone says, no, that's too nice, you know, and you're like, oh, but and then they make you dirty it up, or they make you whatever, and you don't get it, but that's their thing. You might not agree with them. It's their song. I didn't write the song. I just want to help them get there, and usually in the end, I like their version better anyway. You know, they know better than me.
Their song.
Yeah,
they know what they want. They know what they need, and they're going to live with it forever. And you're not going to live with it forever. I mean, you might think about it from time to time. You might, might lead to some other things. It might be on your, your Discogs or whatever, but it's not going to be, it's not like something that you're living, breathing every day of your life afterwards. And they are. It's their music.
Forever. You know?
Yes.
And it's, I go on to the next one. So I want them to be happy with theirs.
Exactly.
But I get to go listen to new music the next day or the next month or whatever. They got to go promote this thing for 2 years now, or
right, exactly. They're gonna go tour the country, and you're like 30 records later. So yeah, I love that. I think that's a great also takeaway for the audience of just like serving the artist, serving the song, serving the role, doing your part humbly and with the right, just the right energies and right vibes.
Yeah, and that's all stuff that I definitely didn't have early on. It's stuff I struggled with a lot. It's just one of those things that I wish I kind of aged on that stuff 20 years ago and, or focused on that stuff more 20 years ago than all the technical stuff or getting a good snare drum sound or all that stuff that kind of like, it helps. But if I get a better snare drum sound than some other guy, but he's a way better hang, he's getting the record.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. But you know what? 20 years ago, we didn't know that, right? Like, even like 10 years ago when I was getting started, the only source I had for like when I wanted to buy a mic was going on Gear Slots. And you're like, half the people are going to like, rip into you. And like, the other half will give you decent advice. And it's on the one hand, the internet has become a very nasty, crazy, weird place. But people do kind of understand that the hang is the most important thing. And the information is being put out there on, places like my podcast, other podcasts. Like, I think the internet, although it has become a total shitstorm, it has also become, like, I don't know, like there are platforms that are that are just pushing the better things now, I think, than there were even a decade ago. And I'm sure 20 years ago when wasn't the internet and it was just like random books. And stuff
Yeah,
you could
I
pick
mean,
up.
I've definitely noticed with like even like a lot of the podcasts and stuff. It's I'm glad that they're having guys teach more of like the lifestyle and the etiquette and that sort of stuff than like what to boost on a guitar. Like it just I love hearing all the stories of how guys came up. It's inspirational to me, to hear other guys' stories and what they've done and how they got there. And yeah, it's about the hang, or it was, you find out how many times it was never about like this thing in your mind that you see as this recording studio thing. And you sit there and I'm going to engineer and touch all these buttons and plugins. And yeah, there's all that stuff, but there's so much more. Like when you go from going to school, like when I went from being at SAE to going to Avatar, and you saw, oh my God, it's like, yeah, there's all this technical stuff that I don't know. And these guys are monsters and it's incredible. And they know how to get sounds and they can sync up any machine and all this stuff. But it was like about like pulling the mojo out of the room, these guys, like had the hang, just it's I don't know. I'm not wording it correctly, but it was like you could feel it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a New York thing or it's an American thing, or there's just like this like productivity. There's like this like unhealthy mindset of I need to be a productive person. I need to be doing this. This is adulting. And a lot of being with artists and being in the studio is not that. It's about taking time and like, cool, your voice isn't here. Like, come back another day. You know what I mean? We'll do it again. And like,
man,
I feel like that's
struggle.
like a hard mindset to kind of
I struggle with that.
Push through.
That for me, my whole life has been the big struggle because I just told you I work 16-hour a day. I'm a worker. I'm used to doing fast mixes and TV and all this stuff, and I just always want to go sometimes, and it's like sometimes you got to read the room, and no, like there's the time to go, and the clocks go, and then there's the time to like we gotta shut this down in a way, or we gotta redirect our energy from where this is going downhill to something better, or just not even talk about music. Let's not, we're in the studio, but let's not do anything for an hour. Let's just hang out, let's just have a conversation.
Let's just like have a coffee or whatever. Yeah. The life stuff.
Yeah. That's sometimes an hour of that saves you 3 hours of recording because they're in the zone and you just go in and do it right away versus,
right.
Yeah.
Last week's podcast episode with Willie Green, he's like, he told me, he's like, yeah, it's just therapy. Recording sessions are therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy sessions, one and the same. And yeah, there's definitely truth in that.
I totally agree. Totally, man. It's especially if it's a songwriter and they're unsure of their lyrics or they're nervous about a new song and they're playing for the band for the first time, whatever. Like you have to sort of catch the moment and create a space that they're super comfortable in doing that. They're so vulnerable there, and that's stuff that I wish I did better younger, that I'm trying to focus more on now.
You may have answered my final question for the podcast, but I don't want to get to the final question of the podcast yet.
Okay.
Because we got to do the sauce. We got to do the sauce segment.
Okay.
So we'll get there. So you sent me a track called Nightbird by Connor Bracken and the Mother Leeds Band. So let's have a quick listen to that for maybe about 90 seconds and talk a little bit about what went into it. Sound good?
Cool.
tattered hearts and some company. Just another off season now. The locals start to swell. The painted face she wears so well. Midnight moons in a February.
Yeah, man. It's a super cool track. Very vibey. Love the reverb. And I know you kind of already set it up as like a lo-fi but cool kind of thing. But yeah, it doesn't sound like pristine, but it sounds great. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
So
Yeah, they did that in the singer's apartment during lockdown. And I don't even think they had some generic version of whatever the little 2-channel Scarlett or Focusrite thing is, and a 57 and a 58. And
that's it.
And no outboard, no anything. If I recall, I think the drum sound is them beating on a guitar case, acoustic guitar case. Yeah, I mean, it was like a stripped down, the whole record. That whole album, they released an album right before the pandemic called Nightbird Motel. And I didn't do that one, but then they did a whole acoustic version of the record as like a companion to it. And they did that, the whole record over. So I ended up mixing it. And then since then, I just mixed a live album for them for their album release show that finally happened post-COVID. And we're actually heading to the studio in February to cut some new songs. So should be fun.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know. What was that reverb on the, I don't know, that I guess the guitar thing? What did you do there? I mean, I love the mandolin. Was it mandolins that are going on there?
Yeah, it's like mandolin, acoustic guitar, upright bass, I think.
Oh, really?
I think it's an upright. Some of the songs had upright. I forget if that one had it. I don't know.
It didn't sound like an upright to me, but
maybe the other one was. Sorry, I've been doing so much stuff lately. Yeah, the verb on that. Originally, I thought that should have like a drum part. So I actually, on that, had done like a quick kind of like 2-mic kind of drum track, sort of like, like in like a leave-on, sort of like in the band sort of thing for that track. And he's like, no, that's not really the thing. So I was trying to figure out what to do with those hits to just kind of
make them impactful.
Yeah, so I think it's probably just running through a bunch of my drum bus stuff. And, I've got a couple of different reverbs. Maybe that's a Valhalla or something. I stick to like a lot of rooms and stuff like that. I have a lot of effects, but I'm not the biggest reverb guy. I guess that track just happened to get the treatment.
And everything, did you like saturate everything, or was it sent to you like that saturated?
No, I kind of dug in and did a lot of that, like the vocals running through my Audioscape V comp, and I'm probably just cranking the input into it like really hot and just kind of getting that tone that way. And then everything was definitely like kind of lo-fi, but I definitely pushed it harder.
And did you have to like de-harshify anything, like using Soothe or whatever with like, the Focusrite Breeze?
Soothe is pretty cool. Yeah, I use Soothe. I use the C6 and the F6 a lot for stuff like that. If there's problem stuff, I'll try to musically take it out if I can. With the saturation stuff, it's just like not going overboard, I guess, or going overboard. I don't know. Maybe that was overboard. I just push into it, and then if it's darken it, or I don't know. Yeah. I wish I was better at technical stuff like that.
No, that's fine. I mean, definitely you gave it the right vibe, I think, for what it was. And super cool track.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, they seem like a really cool band also. So
yeah, good dudes.
Glad you got in with them.
Yeah, they're good. They're definitely good guys. I'm looking forward to doing this next record with them. Should be fun.
Yeah. So anyways, this track sounds amazing, and your work is super impressive. And I don't know, NBC Today Show is lucky to have you, and
Thanks,
you seem
man.
like just a great guy to have. So, this is the question I kind of hinted at, and maybe you already answered it, but maybe you have another answer also in addition. I ask this question to every guest on the show. Looking back on your journey, was there something that you maybe did or did not do that you'd want to tell your earlier self, like, hey, keep at that. That's going to get you where you need to go. Or, hey, Matt, maybe don't do that. You're preventing yourself from moving forward.
I just wish I put more